Imagine this scenario. You and your close friend have a hardcore world together, where you have already played for a long time. You build farms, houses, slay mobs, grind for gear together. Except one day, your friend vanished. The only thing they left behind was a written note that cuts off mid-sentence. What would you do? Would you panic? Would you try to find out what happened to them? Well, this scenario that I just described became a reality for a player named Ace, leading him into a rabbit hole of clues and red herrings, and driving him insane in the process. This is the story of ItzRealAce and his friend Patrick. Now you may be confused as to who ItzRealAce is and why I'm talking about him. To understand all of this, we have to go back about a week ago when I discovered a YouTube channel called ItzRealAce's Old PC Archive. The channel has only 3 videos. The channel description reads, "This is the archive of the videos that were on my friend's old PC hard drive," implying that the channel isn't owned by Ace himself, but by his friend. But to actually understand what happened to Ace, we need to watch the first video. The video opens with Ace and his friend Patrick fishing in a lake in the middle of a snowy taiga biome. One thing that already stands out is the censor bars over chat. The description says that when Ace's friend found the video, the censor bars were already there. Ace and his friend joke around for a little, and eventually the two decide to build a snowman. They start gathering snowballs and turning them into snow blocks. The duo regroups, after which they finish building the snowman, or a snow duck, I guess, maybe? Once inside the house, we get to see the interior. The first floor seems to be the storage room, and the second floor contains 2 bedrooms, one for Ace and one for Patrick. One thing that stood out to me about Ace's room was the weirdly placed magenta concrete block in the middle. Is it maybe important to this story? Yo, can I have the netherite scraps? Netherite? That you mind? I don't have any. Yes you do, I know you do. I need them too. This interaction seems insignificant, but we may come back to it later. After listening to some banger music discs and messing around with the trash bin, the two go back upstairs where this conversation takes place. I'm going to find some foxes. And berries. What's with you and those foxes? It's dangerous in there. I wouldn't go there if I were you. What's with you in the forest? After the video ends almost immediately. But this was probably the most important part of the first video. Let's go over the important things that we know. Ace and Patrick know each other pretty well. At least well enough to be friends and have a hardcore world together. In the hardcore world, they live in a cabin surrounded by a frozen lake in the middle of a snowy spruce forest. The two have pretty good gear, enchanted diamond armor and tools, golden apples and more. Patrick is even implied to have netherite, meaning they explored the nether quite a lot. We also know that Patrick hates the Creator music disc, which is random but pretty funny. Now remember how I said that we would get back to the one conversation in the end of the video later? Well, that later is now. That one bit tells us some important information. First, we know that Patrick loves foxes, or at least has a tendency of talking about them. But that is not the important part. The most important piece of information we get is that Ace is really scared of the forest. And while that may seem normal at first, when you think about it, what is there really to be scared of when you have enchanted diamond armor and tools? I mean, at this point, you kill every hostile mob with 2 sword quits, or less. We can even see him showing the fear of the forest on camera, indicated by his constant zooming in on the forest. That begs the question, why is Ace scared of the forest? Well, to find out, we have to keep watching. The second video, titled Video 2, Go Figure, starts not quite the way you would expect. It starts with Ace explaining that Patrick is gone.
Patrick hasn't been on in a while. He said he would be on, but he isn't. I haven't logged on in a few days, but the server logs say that he hasn't been on either. I don't know what happened.
After explaining the situation, Ace walks out of the house only to find a chest. By his confusion, we can tell that he was not the one who placed it. Inside, he finds a book and quill that read, "I am going to get some foxes. I may not be back for a while. If you need something, message me. I just N." We can assume that something interrupted Patrick from finishing the sentence. After thinking for a while, Ace decides to go into the forest to find any trace of Patrick.
I really don't want to do this, but I think I will have to go into the forest.
Upon entering the forest, Ace seems really cautious, constantly holding his shield up. After walking around the forest, Ace finds a structure that was really out of place and certainly not natural. Patrick's armor and sword are on the ground in item frames. Right next to this, there was another structure. A sword, just like Ace's, named Acer, hanging on a tree in an item frame with only one difference from the real one. The name was red. Next to it, there was a chest with a book and quill that read, "Looks familiar?" After some hesitation, Ace burns the book and keeps going. After some more exploration, Ace finds a very interesting structure. Fences seemingly in the shape of antlers, with a withered skull in the middle. Below, a chest with once again a book and quill. This time the message is a bit more obscure. It reads,
"Why are you hiding? You know exactly who I am. Stop being a coward."
One thing notable about this book is that it most likely wasn't written by Patrick, as we have seen how he writes in chat and in the book near the cabin, and we know that Patrick does not use capitalization or punctuation, other than in rare cases. Well, this book is mostly grammatically correct, aside from the first letter. Needless to say, the structure isn't naturally generated either, just like the last time. Ace burns the book and keeps walking deeper into the forest. Upon even more exploration, Ace finds more strange structures, like hoof prints and notes, that are not as important to go over individually. The one thing most prominent about Ace's journey, though, is the excessive deer imagery. Hoof prints, antlers, skulls, and things like that. Right after finding the hoof prints, something really strange happened. Something attacks Ace. Something that Ace knew was going to attack him. The sounds are definitely not something that happens in regular vanilla Minecraft. Ace runs for a while and blocks the path behind him with planks. After running for around 15 seconds, Ace digs down and seals the hole above him. When the sounds slowly fade away, Ace says it's gone in chat and digs his way up to the surface. That "it" that Ace was referring to is most certainly a deer. Even though it is either invisible or we just don't get to see it on camera, the deer symbolism paired with the sounds indicate that the forest most likely harbors some sort of deer or wendigo creature. This finally answers our question from the last video as to why Ace was scared of the forest. A few minutes after that encounter, Ace notices something on the locator bar, which should be replaced by the experience bar when you're the only one on the server, just like it was all the time before that. The indicator on the locator bar starts approaching, and more deer sounds start to play as Ace runs for his life again blocking himself in a hole in the ground. After that, Ace finds something unusual. Not a structure, but rather a biome, or a place, that Ace refers to as the end of the dense forest. Ace says that foxes don't spawn in there, implying that as Patrick went into the forest to find foxes, there would be no reason for him to be past the dense forest, and in turn, for Ace to look for him there. With that, Ace turns around and starts walking back. After one more encounter with the deer entity, where we once again do not get to see it, Ace finds a strange portal of crying obsidian, and a chest near it. In the chest, a book and quill that read, "Jump if you dare." We cannot exactly say who may have written the book, although it is very unlikely that it was Patrick. When Ace steps closer to look at the portal, something hits him from behind, and the video ends on the loading screen. Wow, that was quite the video. It has so much things that can be significant, but it leaves us with way more questions than answers. Sure, now we know why Ace is scared of the forest, but what is the deer entity, and why is it haunting Ace? What happened to Patrick? The only way to answer these questions is by watching the last and final video on Ace's channel. But before I do that, if you have made it so far into the video, please consider subscribing. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, and every sub matters. So if you would subscribe, that would be really awesome. Thank you. Anyways, back to the video. The video opens in a weird cave dimension. Ace is confused as to where he is. With no other choice, Ace starts walking deeper into the cave. On his way, he sees a volcano, some stone spikes, and eventually a big deer skull out of bone blocks and stripped logs, with glowing red eyes. Naturally, the last structure scares Ace. But after realizing that it is nothing more than a static structure, Ace decides to approach. Near the skull was a chest with a book and quill. The book read, "Bring me 3 items, 3 artifacts, and I will let you out." Ace is naturally confused as to what items the entity wanted him to bring. So with no other choice, Ace keeps walking. He encounters a crossroads, with 3 smaller caves leading out of it. Ace decides to pick the one on the right. Upon entering, we can see glowing magenta and pink mushrooms and roots scattered around the cave. In the end of the cave, a chest with a book and quill inside. The book contained a seemingly random jumble of numbers and symbols. We will definitely come back to that later. Ace brings the book back to the skull structure and places it on one of the 3 item frames.
Happy?
After that, Ace gets ambushed by the deer creature again, as indicated by the sounds. Ace immediately starts running and blocks himself inside of a wall, right before the entrance of the left cave, the water cave. When the sounds are gone, Ace shoots a bunch of arrows in the direction the sounds came from, and finally decides to enter the water cave. On the other side were some barrels with coal and wheat, but most importantly, a chest. Opening that chest was the biggest mistake of Ace's life. Right as Ace took out the book and quill, the floor below him opened, and the next thing he knew, he was falling to his death, into the void. Right before the death screen appears, the video cuts. But Ace did manage to open the book for a split second, revealing another jumble of letters. This is the most bizarre yet important video out of the 3. Let's go over each clue one by one, starting with the water cave. The cave had a book and quill in the end of it, with random characters inside. At first, I thought it was some sort of cipher, so I decided to try and decipher it. But it turns out that it was way easier than I thought. It was merely a Google Drive link, but the contents of the Google Drive folder were the key to solving the whole mystery. It was the world download. Now, before you start screaming, check Patrick's statistics and see if he died, let me just quickly inform you that the player data of the world was empty. So without any other choice, I quickly loaded into the world. So we just spawned in the nether apparently, let's go. That's awesome. Immediately, things were not normal at all. I spawned in the nether, and had to walk a while before I actually reached the house from the videos. Oh, this is cool. Oh my gosh, I'm actually playing the world now. Oh, this is... I grabbed some spare iron gear from the house, and went searching for the portal that Ace went through. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Okay. I guess we have no other choice than to check. Oh my god! Oh my god, okay, no. Well, I guess we're just here now. Why did I even take the crossbow? I don't have any arrows. That's the volcano. Let's not fall into there. And upon entering, sure enough, I was taken to the same cave dimension as Ace. There, the only unexplored cave that was left was the middle one, the ice cave. And this cave has ice, and that cave was sea. I'm starting to see a pattern. This cave, so Ace's skin it's ice themed, and this cave is covered in ice. Patrick is a star. Stars live in the water, and that is a water cave. But I do not understand one thing. Who is that magenta cave for? Because there's only 2 players in this world. Yeah, I don't know. In the end of the ice cave was a chest and a book, just like the other 2, but the contents were different. Instead of a link, it was a set of coordinates that led to the house's walls. It was another chest, hidden in the house unbeknownst to Ace. Another book, another link, this time leading to a video. This alone is the explanation to what happened. So, is this it? I mean, we solved it, right? Ace wasn't looking for his friend, he was trying to cover up a mistake. A mistake that possibly ruined a friendship. But wait, we still have some more questions that I think I can find answers to. First, let's look at the magenta cave. In the end of the cave was a book and quill, just like the water cave, with a string of characters. Using the logic from before, we can figure out that it was a Google Drive link that leads to a screenshot. One singular chat message. It's Magenta77 was blown up by ItzRealAce. That changes everything. Up to this point, we thought that Ace and Patrick were the only 2 people to ever play on this hardcore world. But turns out that's not true. Turns out there was someone before Patrick. And I know it's not true because the house in the background is the exact same house as the one Ace and Patrick lived in. Was Patrick not the first victim of Ace? Yes, he was not the first victim of Ace, because for the screenshot to exist at this time, Magenta had to die before Patrick. Ace killing his friends wasn't a one-time thing. It was a cycle. But we still have 2 big questions to answer. First of all, why? Why would Ace kill his friend Patrick? Wouldn't that just make the hardcore world less fun? Well, I think I know why. You see, in the first video, I pointed out the dialogue between Ace and Patrick when Ace was asking Patrick for netherite. Well, Patrick not only didn't share his netherite, he even lied about not having any. I think that if it isn't the core motive, which I think it is, at least it contributed to the murder. But if all I'm saying here is correct, then what on earth is the deer that is hunting Ace throughout the videos? Well, I think I have an answer to that too. It's guilt.